Buenos dias.
Buenas noches.
We are here with a very famous, phenomenal individual, a tennis pro, a doctor, an environmentalist. This is the man. This is the absolute essence of what we believe Mother Nature needs as a friend who lives and who convey the world what we need to do with the environment. So I'm very pleased to introduce Mr. Campo himself.
Thank you, Jean-Charles.
And this is so exciting, dear friends. We decided to do that impromptu. He was doing an interview of our commitment to Mother Nature. And I said, can I be the one interviewing you now? So here he is.
There you go.
Bonjour, cher ami.
Bonjour, Jean-Charles. Merci.
So let's start, maybe explain to the world what you do now, and we're going to go back in your life because you have an incredible life. And we share a tremendous amount of things in common, besides sports, besides people, and obviously the environment. So we're going to have a great conversation, but first, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
And maybe define a little bit, Dr. Campo, doctor, what you do today in the world of the environment, for the environment, and all of that.
Yeah. I developed a passion for the environment around 2002, 2003, and especially the summer heat wave of 2003 is what really triggered my interest.
Yep.
I'm a passionate snow skier, and I saw that the seasons were getting different. The snow was either all melting or there was too much snow. So I started studying the climate change. And also because when I was a kid, I used to tell my dad, I was 6 years old, Dad, the superhero that controls the climate is going to be the most powerful. And imagine, 30, 40 years later, that is almost true.
Yeah.
Anybody that can control this crazy climate will be very powerful. What I do now is I'm 60 years old and I created a foundation called Planet Future. And under that foundation, I'm bringing all the events that I have organized regarding the climate crisis, my speeches. But the main goal is I am traveling around the world, recording documentaries to show all of us how important it is to protect the most sensitive parts of the planet. And I have grouped them in 4 categories.
And dear friends, you will see B-rolls of this today, and you will see the link appearing in the chat and, in the biography of Pancho, because it's very impressive what he's done. I got to see a variety of phenomenal documentary, and the one on Greenland is insane.
That was a pretty amazing expedition. Very difficult, very challenging. We've encountered lots of problems, most of them because of climate change. But we managed to record all the footage that we wanted, and that's one of the areas. Everything under ice: Antarctica, the Arctic, Greenland, glaciers. Second is marine environment and coral reefs, which are extremely important for our society, but we are killing them because of the rise in temperatures. Third is the Amazon and other rainforests.
Yes.
And finally, places around the world that are in danger of extreme drought or flooding. For example, Cape Town or Miami, which are the 2 opposite poles. Miami has
and maybe Venice too.
Venice is in danger of going underwater. So those are the areas that I'm going to be visiting around the world. And the key for me is I want to tell my story. I don't want a crew traveling with me. So I'm doing everything with my iPhone, a couple of microphones, and a GoPro. That's it.
I love it. And explain what you related to me. You have great kids as well. You want to do that as a legacy to your kids, as a gift, an inspiration for them in addition?
In life, you got to give your kids morals, values, and education, and hopefully money. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, with the war, the pandemic, money is difficult to make. But at least I want them to have strong values inherited from dad and mom. So this foundation, I created it with the goal of being my legacy to them, but also to society. I've had a great life. I have lived my life, thoroughly. I have met incredible people. I have the most amazing wife and 2 great kids. So you gotta be thankful. And the best way to be thankful is to provide something that is gonna help others even if that doesn't help you. So because climate change has been my crusade for many, many years, I thought this is going to be it. And hopefully, if it works very well, you know, the kids, if they ever need a job,
Yes.
they can always come and work at the foundation.
Well, what you do with the foundation, before we go back to your phenomenal history and personal life, is a lot of events around the topic. So maybe tell us about all the great things you've done with political people like Al Gore and Barrack Obama and others to really engage our world into our most important topic, climate change and the environment.
In 2006, we created the first World Conference on Climate Change and Wine, not knowing that we were going to be pioneers, because at the time, nobody has ever organized a conference tackling climate change in a very specific industry. It was a big flop. We lost money, we didn't get the numbers, but we got two very important things. Number one is we got the mainstream media attending, Discovery Channel, National Geographic, BBC, and all the wine media. And 3 weeks after, I got a phone call from the office of Vice President Al Gore. He wanted to meet me because he wanted to learn the relationship between climate change and wine. So he invited me to a training that he was conducting in Seville, in Spain, for 200 personalities of the Spanish society to train them as his climate leaders. During those 2 days, not only I got to work with him and learn from him, I convinced him to be the keynote speaker of my next edition 18 months later.
Well, you're very convincing. I'm not surprised he said yes.
In this 18 months, the man goes and releases the movie, wins the Oscar, wins the Nobel Peace Prize, and lands in Barcelona as the most famous human being on the face of the earth. So our conference with 80 people went to almost 800.
Wow.
70 different nationalities, and it was a huge success. So that gave me the encouragement to continue with this crusade and not to get into a fight with my wife because she was not happy about us losing money. So the next edition was with Kofi Annan, remarkable human being. Oh,
another of the top world leaders.
And one of my dreams when I was younger, it was to meet some of these leaders. One of those leaders was Kofi Annan, and I had the opportunity to sit next to him for 2 hours at the official dinner. And we spoke about tennis. He wanted to know about this young boy called Judovic or Djokovic. I said, Djokovic, yeah, that guy. So I told him, you know, I thought he was going to be one of the greatest players ever. We spoke about politics. We spoke about what was happening in Libya at the time. And it was just, you know, one of those conversations that you will never forget.
That's right.
In 2018, I had the opportunity of working with President Obama. He was our keynote speaker at the Climate Change Leadership Portal that we co-organized with Adrian Bridge from Taylor's.
Yes.
That was also an experience. You know, working with a president is a big difference than working with a vice president.
That's right.
The security, the entourage, and of course, you know, Obama is a guy that has a presence. He walks into a room, you know, everybody notices, and it was a before and after for my company. Not many agencies like mine have had the opportunity of handling a visit of a former president of the United States.
For sure.
The next edition, before the pandemic, we had 50 or 60 speakers, again working with Adrian Bridge, and Vice President Al Gore was again our keynote speaker. Then the pandemic came along and we had to reinvent ourselves.
So you do a lot of that online. So where would you recommend a lot of our guests and friends today who wants to dive more into all your interviews, all your great panels? Where do they go to find this?
There's two websites. The most immediate event is Green Wine Future, the conference. We have 150 speakers. You're one of them.
Thank you.
And we're honored to have you.
Well, I'm honored to be part of whatever you do.
greenwinefuture.com. That's the website. That's the event. You can find all the program, all the bios of the speakers. But then
and we thrill, dear friends, not to add to our place where we are right now at Raymond Vineyards. We're drinking Le Cabaret Bubbles from Napa Valley. It's a 2016 vintage, and we'd love to hear about what you think of it. We are in our new cabanas. This is what we call the Palmenade. So palm because palm, menade because promenade. And we love it because we have an amazing view, and this is our new way. Take into account the environment because everything is organic and biodynamic, and we'll talk about it on the next wine. We want all our guests at Raymond to enjoy the clean air. It's all organic, dear friends. No pesticides and herbicides and all biodynamic. So We breathe. So when you come to enjoy wine at Raymond in the Grove, the Palmanade, this is how you'll be. So come soon. Hey, I interrupted you, but what do you think of this wine?
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's got this nice nose, being technical, autolysis, which is, you know, the bread, the brioche.
Because we have a student of Master of Wine here, you know, so he knows his stuff in a big time way. For
how long did you age it on the lease?
3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're talking about a 2016 vintage. It's phenomenal. It's a Blanc de Blanc, so we 100% Chardonnay.
Yeah.
And made it right here in the heart of Napa Valley to honor, obviously, Raymond. And Cabaret, because we do a lot of great events that includes dancing. Because you're from South America, you love bailar.
Salsa and merengue and
tango,
bachata.
Flamingo.
Flamenco, I'm not that good. My wife is a good flamenco. She's American, but she was brought up in Seville, so she can dance some very good flamenco.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you mentioned number one, obviously, green wine.
Yeah. Green
and
wine
number two,
it's the foundation. It's planetfuturefoundation.org.
Perfect. And there we can find everything. So before we go back in time, give us some of the few things all of us need to be aware of as far as the environment.
Yeah.
Question one. And two, what we can all do to contribute to a better planet.
We all have to be aware that we are interconnected.
Yes.
When I was in Greenland, I was shown this surface of black ashes coming from the fires in California and the Okanagan. Those ashes went up on the jet stream, flew to Greenland, landed on Greenland.
How many miles away? 4,000?
I think it's I think it's more. It's about 6,000 miles. And those ashes, because they're black, they prevent the sunlight to reflect, they absorb the heat, and they accelerate the melting of the ice below. So that's number one. We're all connected, and we all have to care about the rest of the planet and not be so narrow-minded. I'm in the wine industry, I don't care about other industries.
And you're right, we interconnected, and that shows you the planet is very small. So when you do something in one part of the world, you think it won't affect the other side of it, but it does.
It does, absolutely.
I mean, you teaching me something today that I had no idea, and I thank you for sharing. Any other example as that we should know that are striking and makes total sense?
I was hoping that with the pandemic, we were going to learn the lesson. Having a medical background, although I studied medicine, I never got the diploma, but I finished absolutely everything. Mm-hmm. But I had the medical background also because of my father.
Yeah.
I was hoping that, well advanced the 21st century, we were going to spend more money in health and education, but we've gone back. We're spending money again in the military class and the political class,
yeah,
which doesn't say much about our society. So I think we should invest more in education, which is the future of our children, in health, in sanitary systems. I think that's the most important. We should all be aware that we are part of a planet that is all interconnected. Whatever happens, look what is happening in Ukraine now. You know, all those people that are emigrated, 3 million people coming to the rest of Europe, it's already affecting us. Although the war is not happening in Spain, we have to absorb a lot of those immigrants. The economy is being affected. We are in a global planet. We should act globally.
That's right.
We should think maybe locally, and I know this is a phrase that many people use, but we have to put our money where our mouth is.
For sure.
Let's not just think about it, let's do it. And third, each citizen has to elect their leaders with responsibility. Mm-hmm. It's not about a pretty face
and
or a
accountability.
That's my second part.
Exactly.
A lot of leaders are chosen because you like them, the way they speak, the way they dress, the way they talk to you. Read their program. And if you think that the program is not respectful enough with the environment, don't choose that guy. And once you choose them, you have all the right in the world to make them accountable.
That's right.
You know, being a politician is not, you're going to be there and we take it for granted and you're allowed to do anything you want. No, we elected you, we pay your salary, I need responsibility. Same thing as a
And I think we need to have a toast as the French president got elected.
Emmanuel Macron, yes.
And part of his 7-minute speech, acceptance speech, he mentioned the key commitment we need to hold him accountable is in the environment. So you speaking music to my ears, and for us making fine wine, as you said so well in the interview that we did together, luxury wine is luxurious and high quality thanks to our commitment to the environment. Soil management, environmental management, what we put in our soil, all the prevention we do through plants and everything else is the key to make fine wine. So thank you so much for stressing that and making it a major priority as well. What other example would you like to share before we move to some great, rich, intense organic wine?
Other things that have really shocked me is I'm a very keen diver. My passion, now that I am 60 years old, I want to try to spend the rest of my life, my personal hobby is diving in different parts of the world. But I have witnessed the bleaching of the coral reefs in different parts of the world. Of
course.
I have seen the amount of plastic and the COVID masks, now they're inundating all the oceans. I have seen turtles choking with masks. I have seen manta rays choking with plastic. This is like, if you have a house and you have rented that house and you don't care about the swimming pool, you let all the birds and the trees die, you let all the grass grow and you don't take care of it, and you're not even paying the rent. What would you do with that tenant? You will fire him. This is what we're doing to our planet. We are in a place that does not belong to us. We don't pay the rent. And we are not taking care of this place that doesn't even belong to us.
So now I'm going to serve you the 1.5 acre, the perfect blend of Raymond Vineyard. It's a leather label, and it's a blend of the 5 key Bordeaux grape variety. So this to illustrate, and I'd love your comment on it, to the world why organic is essential and why it's so important to farm organically and biodynamically, because taste
Cheers.
The depth of this wine.
Ooh. It's got Cap Franc?
Absolutely. Cap Franc, Petit Verdot, Malbec, Cabernet Sauvignon,
it's got that minty,
and Merlot.
Minty character, nice silky tannins.
2015 vintage too.
It's so smooth. Wow.
Thank you.
No, that's beautiful. Nicely balanced, smooth, alcohol perfectly integrated. Congratulations.
Which is the key. Organic farming helps us to do that. So, Pancho, one amazing thing in our discussion today that I love, besides your environmental commitment and your great business on event, is you are an international professional tennis player. And I love that.
I was.
Well, tell us all about this. So you were in the top players in South America.
I was not a great player because I had problems handling my stress and my nerves. And I realized that if you want to make money in tennis, you got to be amongst the top 100. And today I would say top 80. I knew that it was going to be difficult to do that, especially when I had my mother telling me that I could play tennis after I went to college and do a career. So I decided to become a coach. And those things that I couldn't handle, I made it a point of being the center of my training system, which was teaching my players how to handle stress. Because remember that you travel every week to a different country, you stay in a hotel, you eat in a restaurant. If you're not a very rich player, you cannot travel with an entourage that is going to support you emotionally. So you're traveling with maybe another player or one coach. So you have to develop resiliency.
Yeah.
And that's what allowed me to be successful as a coach. I added something.
So you became Olympic. I mean, share that with us. This is a huge deal.
Oh my God, that's still my fondest memory, professional memory, is going to the Olympic Games in Barcelona, which is the city where I was brought up, representing Chile, the country where I was born. So that was really emotional. I watched the ceremony every 4 years, and I get goosebumps, especially when my son asked me once. I said, "Daddy,
gala de piel, ¿cómo se dice en español? Goosebumps.
Piel de pollo.
Piel de pollo. Piel de gallina.
Chicken skin.
Chicken skin. So this is amazing. So you coached the team at the Olympics.
Yeah, that was until today, I think the only thing that gets close to was when we did the concert with Pink Floyd in Dubai. That was very emotional because that was the music that I used to listen when I was studying medicine. And Pink Floyd is a huge production.
Of course.
Yeah, I can't. Wine Future Hong Kong, that was a massive event. Also, that was very emotional. But on a personal basis, nothing compares to the Olympic Games.
Wow. And then you went on to run an amazing tennis school with Bollettieri, one of the most amazing coaches of all.
Nick Bollettieri is a legend. Nick it's the coach that has produced more Grand Slam winners. And when I was working at the academy, we were very lucky because the students shared one apartment where Pete Sampras, Jim Courier, Andre Agassi, David Wheaton in one apartment, all four. And also there was a little girl by the name of Monica Seles. She was training there. So I had the opportunity to see these guys grow up. And then at some tournaments, I was very lucky that I was part of the entourage with Andre Agassi in Barcelona and Zaragoza. And he is a remarkable human being. Andre was very flamboyant, had his issues of a young lad, you know, with a very, very strict father. But when he met Steffi Graf and they got married, he has become a really nice human being. He does a lot of charity works. He has a school, the Andre Agassi High School in Las Vegas. And he was an inspiration for me. And I think he's one of the legendary players in history.
Yeah, for sure. It's so exciting to use sports and inspiration to fulfill community dreams.
If our politicians and a lot of our CEOs would take the values that Roger Federer or Rafa Nadal have when they're on the court, commitment, hard work, mental toughness, being nice to your opponent, learning from your opponent. So many times Federer and Rafa said, you know, I am a better player because Rafa raised the level. And Rafa says the same, I'm a better player because Roger made me raise the level if I wanted to keep up with him. So that is true competition. They're not enemies.
Yeah.
They you know, each of them wants to be the best player ever, the GOAT, what they call it, the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
But there's respect, there is camaraderie, there is hard work. I'm going to beat you, but because I'm going to work harder than you. That's what our politicians around the world should learn from athletes and sports people. The values of sports.
And within that, what is for you your passion? Besides the environment, besides tennis, what is the passion you would like to convey, as you did so well on those two topics, for everyone?
My personal passion is diving. I love diving in different parts of the world. I've dived under the ice. I've done, you know, very deep because I'm a technical diver. I love a nice bottle of wine, like this one, for example, with my wife in a nice environment.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I enjoy. I like extreme sports, but as you're getting older, you have to start slowing down a little bit. So far, I haven't managed to slow down.
I don't
but I know
so.
It's not going to last for long.
Well, you're very competitive in a great way. What made you so competitive in that sense of, and I mean it in every great way as far as perfection?
I am a perfectionist. Yeah. In my events, I am very demanding, but we have a philosophy in my company. Event management is such a tough job that if it's going to be stressful, we better quit. So when we work with President Obama, I have a great picture, my daughter and I walking towards meeting with President Obama when all the public was coming in, and we both have a big smile on our face. And I have that picture in my office, and I tell my team, if this is not the tone of the entire event, we better quit. Because we make money, but I'm not going to be a millionaire. So if you're not going to make a lot of money, and on top of that, you're going to suffer and you're going to have a stress, then let's do something else. So that's why maybe we are able to do such a small company, produce events with Pink Floyd and President Obama, because we're very picky. It's a family company. Almost everybody in the company are related to me, and we like to enjoy ourselves. So the level of stress we compensated by having a smile on your face.
Yes.
And if you're the leader, if you get nervous, everybody below you will get nervous. If you raise your voice, everybody will, be on edge. So you're the first one that has to be under control. and you have to motivate the rest of the people to make them feel at ease, to make them feel happy, to enjoy. So that's leadership, and I think I've done a very good job motivating my team, because we were able to. Well, Green Wine Future has 150 speakers, 8 different time zones, and that is extremely stressing. But we're having fun with David Fuhrer and Mike Wamblicker.
I love it. And how much maybe sports has helped you? The discipline of sports help you to be who you are today?
Sport has been everything. That's why my wife, my daughter, my son, the first thing that I try to convey to them is you got to have a healthy life. Mm-hmm. And the center of your healthy life is you exercise. Yes. And I use exercise to cure. If I'm stressed, I exercise. If I'm hungover, I exercise. If I'm bored, I exercise. So exercise for me is the core of everything I have done in life to be healthy and to be a better human being. It's at the center. And
I love it.
My wife now, for example, she cannot wake up in the morning and not go to the gym first thing. And that's why she's beautiful, and I'm very lucky.
So she works out in the morning by herself, and she works out at night with you. So that's a perfect combination. Pancho. So now we have a big question for you. Is your big message maybe to the world? Because we've had so much fun over the last 40 minutes together. I want to thank you for taking the time to visit, to do what you do. Because when Pancho suggested that we are part of his amazing panel, I was really honored and blessed, because to see individuals that don't necessarily come from the world of wine, although passionate, but environment and sports, and want to incorporate wine and food to this is so important and essential. And we feel so blessed to have you in our world.
Thank you.
So maybe a big message to the world as far as whatever topic you wanna leave them with.
The thing that has helped me the most, and I always try to convey this message to my kids, in life, you're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna fall down, you're gonna fail in business. Hopefully you'll not get divorced, but if it happens, the only thing you can do, you have to stand up, learn your lesson, and continue with more energy and more commitment. It's happening to our world. We had a pandemic. We should be able to stand up, learn from our mistakes, so the next time we have a pandemic, it's less intense, or we can deal with it better. But I always tell my kids, there's nothing wrong with failing, falling, as long as you stand up. And you stand up. Sometimes you will need somebody to help you stand up, but you gotta stand up and learn why did you fall, so you don't fall because of the same reason. I think that's the most important lesson that, based on my life, I can convey to my kids.
Thank you. Well, I feel we owe your kids now, because we all gonna stand up strong. Pancho Campo, dear friends, Planet Future, an amazing professional international tennis player, Olympian, dear friends. Going to the Olympics is a big deal. And all what you've done, Doctor, is very exciting. So
thank you very much.
Thank you. And dear friends, to the environment.